There's a beautiful, beautiful chapter in Autobiography of a Yogi. Something the stars, what's Outwitting the Stars. Interesting title, isn't it? Which just came to me. Outwitting the Stars, he calls it. And it describes beautifully the whole, how astrology works with us, for us. And I don't know anything about astrology, zero. So let me just say that right at the outset here. But about a year ago, I was reading that chapter for some reason, something I was teaching, I'm sure. And I got it. And let me see if I can pull it up, because I haven't read the chapter recently enough. I wish I read it yesterday to be able to speak to this. I realized how often people say, well, in response to why they behaved a certain way, why they're feeling a certain way, why they're stuck, people refer to their chart, the time that they're in, karma, which is, of course, completely wrapped up with the astrology of it all, where how the planets are aligned in the exact instant that that soul chooses to be born. It all, and where and how that gets laid down in as our astral spine, so that it does dictate what our chakras are like in that instant. And there's no mistaking it here. We choose exactly the life that soul does, exactly the life that it will be born into in order to make spiritual progress. No matter what our lives have looked like, imagine that. Our higher self knew that that was the perfect life to make progress, if we make progress, if we keep to it, because we're already determining through every question and answer here, it's hard. So the exact circumstance at the exact moment. However, it doesn't mean that we're stuck there. And it doesn't mean that we have a certain karma that we have to live with for the rest of our lives. And how do I want to say this? Because it's something I feel deeply that is clear to me, and yet I don't feel it with any arrogance of the mind or as a human being. But I have heard many, many highly evolved people, highly evolved souls, say to me, well, it's just my karma. Like, just like that, it's just my karma. As if we have not also been given, first and last, I would say, free will. Very complicated topic. But we have been given, as human beings, free will. We always have the choice, always, always, always have the choice to make decisions in the direction of God or in the direction of staying where we are, being stuck, or worse yet, moving closer towards the darkness. And we all do this. I mean, it's not like we're horrible if we're not using our free will in every moment of this life to move towards the light, because we don't, none of us. But we're working towards that, and we want to do it more and more. So I will say that astrology has everything to do with how we come in, and everything to do with what influences, what's influencing us in every given moment of our lives. But we are not bound by it. We're born into it precisely to move and expand beyond it. I mean, precisely. The word doesn't even say it precisely enough because it's so exact. So there's no room for laziness on the path, not if we actually really want to become self-realized, not if we actually, even in this life, say, I really genuinely want to feel God's love. I want to feel God's arms around me. I want to feel the release of that burden for a while. All of that, when we're sincere about just moving in that direction, there is no room for laziness. Master said over and over, as did Swamiji, if you're not making spiritual progress, there's no standing still, then you're losing ground. And that is because the lack of bringing in energy, using our magnetism, using our will and our willpower, all of these things that we live every day on this path and truthfully on any spiritual path that has come to us through a true teacher, because it's just what they would teach. You have to learn to use the energy that you are. Just like I was saying with healing prayers, it's real what we can do. We are pure energy. We're pure magnetism because of that. We all know that. We know it in the form of electricity and electricity creating magnetism. That's who we are. Imagine that. This whole being. Remember, Master said there's enough energy in 1 gram of your body. 1 gram. I've often wanted to figure out, somebody else can do it. I'm not going to stop right now and do it. It's just a question of math. How many kilograms are we? How many grams is that? A lot. It's a lot for most of us. That we could run the city of Chicago for a whole week. That's what he said. We have so much unused energy here, but if we turn our backs on it and forget, we call that tamas. That's being tamasic, lazy, unkempt, slovenly, not just on the physical plane, more importantly on the spiritual plane. So gathering up all of the energy that it takes to overcome karma, past tendencies, past. I'm always intrigued that Swamiji uses the word, where is it now? Past bad karma. We say, it must be in the festival somewhere because we say it every week. I'm having trouble reminding myself where it is. But that phrase, past bad karma, because I don't usually think of karma as being bad. I don't qualify it. It feels to me like opportunities to continue to grow spiritually. He must have put that word in there for a very good reason, because as we all know, Swamiji was nothing if not masterful with words. So there's no mistake there, but it always kind of stops me a little. So yes, it has everything to do with how and why we come in, but not in the sense that people often hold it, like then you're stuck. Much more in the sense of this is the job that's before you. You've chosen perfectly for the opportunity to grow spiritually and realize your true self if you will find the courage, the steadfastness, the willingness, the willpower, the power, the spiritual power to just keep saying yes, yes, yes. And it's very hard. I have a lot of respect for the last question that was asked about, and saying, honestly, sometimes I just don't want to do the work. I don't want to. And you know, again, in the festival, I'm sorry I keep referring to it because for those of you who don't know it, you'll feel a little lost. Listen in next Sunday. But the festival is broken down into 4 stages of spiritual development. And at some point it says, and we, like that little bird, because the story of the soul is told in the form of a little bird. Swamiji himself said, when it came to me that way, I thought, a little bird? But it was a pure inspiration for him, so he followed it and he wrote it that way. And it's such a beautiful story of our lives. But it says, we, like that little bird, entered the 2nd stage of the soul's long journey away from its home in God, the stage which is called the revolt. And every Sunday, whether I'm reading it or listening to it, I think, the revolt. There's so many ways to revolt, and we're all doing it. But fortunately, God watches our heart, and he knows our intention. So I hope I answered that question for you.